I'm Emma Rowena, for those of you who don't know me. I'm a performer, a musician, but I'm also an intuitive reader and healer, and I do guided meditations, and I do this video series that is usually in the mornings, Norwegian time, European time, Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. This week's topic was compassion, so Monday I talked about compassion. Wednesdays I talk a little bit more about how you can break through to your own sensation of whatever it is that we're talking about, or break through any blocks. So today, how do we break through to our own compassion, or how do we let the compassion become more of a part of our life? How can it help us? Now, compassion is a very, very good big healer. It comes, in my opinion, as I mentioned on Monday, from here, from our heart, from our sense of love, from our love center, if you like. I believe also that we are of love. This is our essence, this is our energy, our radiance, but we put all kinds of stuff on it while we're trying to learn to be human in this world, this crazy world, and so it becomes obstructed or blocked, and then we put all kinds of conditions on love, and we sort of get confused with what's what. But compassion, I find, comes from this same place, and compassion is the kind of loving action that relates to something, I find, whether it's somebody else, a person or an animal or nature or Mother Earth, or to yourself. Whereas love, our essence, is a state of being. That's how I feel and see it. I know a lot of people talk about the same thing. You have your own opinion, of course, and please share it whenever you like. But the thing is, what I wanted to talk about now, and I'll do it a little bit maybe quicker than I did this morning, is how we can... There are three topics I wanted to bring up, or that I talked about this morning. One was in relation with another person. And the other one was how you can sometimes have too much compassion. Well, you can't really have too much compassion, but that we use it in the wrong way so that it becomes invasive, or we put compassion onto somebody who maybe don't need it in that time. So what is compassion then? Is maybe compassion is stepping back. And the third one is a simple thing we can do to show a little bit of appreciation and compassion to people in our everyday life. So let's do the first one. Sorry, I'm shifting a bit. Let's do the first one. The first topic or exercise, if you like, that I'd like to share is, if you're in a relationship, or if you have a relationship with somebody, any kind of relationship, parent, child, partner, friend, lover, colleague, boss, whatever. Maybe there's a relationship that's a little strained. So I'd invite you to bring forward one for yourself, a relationship that doesn't quite work, or there's something not quite right, or there's a lot of tension, or there's aggression, or it's obstructive, whatever it is. Now, we tend to put blame, we tend to project our pain, the sense that we're not in a good place, onto whoever it is we're in that relationship with. And we tend to blame them, and they can't see me, I'm not seen, they're not doing their own work, they're not doing their stuff, whatever. And this is not really a very constructive way, I find, of communicating or solving this. So imagine that you have this person in front of you. Put that person in front of you, imagine it. And then you can imagine that you can see all that person's faults, all the stuff that person's doing to you. And I have to say this, that I said this morning as well. Every emotion and every thought that you have, they are yours. They're ours. We own them. It doesn't mean that we do not react to other people's actions to us. It doesn't mean that other people's actions are always right. We don't need to accept other people's actions if they don't feel right to us. But you own your emotions and you own your own thoughts. which means you have actually authority over them. You can deal with them. What you can't deal with is the other person's private or inner thoughts or emotions. You cannot change those because they belong to them. But what we do is we mess this up a bit and we get all this noise in between us. And if you want to get away from somebody, then get away from them. But maybe you want to investigate a bit further first. So what I invite you to do is to imagine all this noise, all this or tension or whatever it is, imagine it like a construction in front of that other person. And imagine that you can see this like a layer in front of that person. Just go with it, pretend, imagine, play with it. And imagine that you can actually sneak a peek behind all that so that you can see that person's true colors, their heart, their energy, their emotion, their whatever it is. You can never know exactly their emotion, but you can get a sense of their essence, their colors, as I said, their sound maybe. Imagine that you can open that construction in front of them like a door and push it to the side, and you get more free access to that person's center, heart, energy. And just send a little compassion to that. And notice if it's easier to do so when you see behind the scenes, if you like. Now, I'd like you to do, maybe it's still hard because you've got all this stuff going on in your own life and your own emotions. You've got a wall of noise in front of yourself in relation to this person as well. So maybe you want to step back a little, physically lean back a bit. Imagine that all this noise, all this stuff has become this big wall in front of you as well, and that you can, or door, and like a big padded door, and you can open it and maybe recognize yourself behind all that noise. Recognize who it is that's in here relating to who it is that's in there. And then see if you can feel this compassion for yourself, for that person behind all that pain or all that fear or whatever it is. And see if you can send a little bit of that compassion over to the other person. And then you can let go. And then you see if you can find a different way of communicating. Maybe you can find a different angle. Maybe you can recognize what's yours, what's that person's. Maybe you can explore different ways of viewing that person, seeing their story, understanding your reactions. So you sort of separate yourself. You might even want to imagine cutting everything, cords between you to clear the air. But you also open up those doors so you can see behind, the essence behind, the valuable person behind, both you and the other person. That's an exercise you can try. It's a little demanding, but you can do it. It's very exciting once you get the practice, once you get it going and see what happens. Maybe it changes something for you. Or maybe it makes it even clearer for you what you want to do in relation to that person. That's fine, your choice. But see if you can do it from a place of compassion to yourself and to the other person. That was the one exercise. The only one I wanted to talk about, or that I did talk about this morning, was that sometimes we portray our compassion where we really should not interfere. And the example, the story that I want to share it's from a film about Ray Charles. And he watched his brother die in a pot of boiling, I think, water. And he got blinded himself, and so he was in trauma. And of course, being blinded, he was handicapped. And this one scene that has stuck in my mind, it's a long time since I've seen this, but it was so powerful to me. This boy comes crawling because he's afraid of walking in case he hits something, crawling in the door of the house. The mother stands in the house, in the corner of the room, and this boy starts shouting for her, calling her out, asking for help, screaming, more and more desperate. She doesn't say a word. She's crying, she's weeping silently, in pain at watching her boy crying out for help, but she won't go and help him. She needs him to find his way. And what he does, and this I think he has shared, what he does find his way. Sometimes we need to let people find their way, or at least ask them, would you like me to come in? And maybe they will, maybe they'll cling, and you realize at some point, this isn't really good. You need to find your own way. Please do. I'm here if you really need me, but try your own way first. Sometimes that's the most compassionate thing we can do. Giving the other person the faith that they deserve in finding their own journey and finding their own strength and healing, and then embracing them when they come for it. Some people are afraid of asking for help. That could be part of the journey as well. So we don't want to impose our compassion. You can send a thought of compassion, of love. Beautiful. And you can offer your services if they want to come to you. Offer your compassion, your space, your safety. But we need to be a little bit aware, because we tend to, especially mothers and children and parents and children, we tend to want to hold them all the time and save them, especially teenagers. They try to push us away and we feel we should be there. But teenagers need to find their way. Yes, we have to watch them and help them and support them, but sometimes we have to accept that we are not the only thing that they need. That was for parents out there. I'm a mother as well. But so, and the third thing I wanted to share was a simple little daily exercise that I invite you to do today or tomorrow if it's too late today. It's to go out, no matter how you're feeling, no matter what your mood is, go out there and consciously smile at somebody, one person. I did this morning, walking the dog, as I was thinking about all this, and I felt good, so it was easy for me to smile. And that's when the thought came to do this exercise, because she looked a bit sort of grumpy, or not grumpy, she was frowning. She was sort of in a not very uplifted place, it looked like. And so I gave her a smile, and she lit up. And I don't know, maybe she went back to the frowning afterwards. It doesn't matter. She had a moment of a smile, and I felt uplifted by it as well. So go out today or tomorrow, choose a point of the day or whatever, just be conscious or aware. You can do it to many people, but if you're not feeling up to doing it to many people, choose one person that you smile to, smile at. See what happens to the other person and what happens to you. It's an act of compassion to the other person, but it's also an act of compassion to yourself, because a smile lifts you up. And again, I'll repeat this. In the mornings, if I feel tired or grumpy, I force myself to smile at myself. And it does help, I promise. It does something to all our chemicals, but it also does something to the awareness of where I am, of who I am, and of acknowledging who I am. And that's what you do when you smile at somebody else. You acknowledge them. So those were the 3 exercises. One a little more tricky and heavier than the other. Well, the second one was really just an awareness of not overimposing our compassion, but rather offering it and sharing and compassionate thoughts. And then the smile. Now let's do this little centering exercise that I usually do at the end of my morning videos. And for those who came in a bit later, I'm doing this at an odd time now, this video, because this morning's video was, it seems, erased by Facebook because I mentioned the name of the tea that I was drinking. I think that's why, because I mentioned that it might be good for you. So obviously you don't have to do that. Drink coffee instead. Okay, let's do the centering. In the breathing, when you breathe in, we imagine that we're pulling our energy in towards ourselves, in together, gathering ourselves, pulling ourselves together, as it were. And as we breathe out, we imagine that we anchor all this energy that we've gathered together down into our hips, rooting ourselves so we can feel our foundation. We can feel strong through the rest of the day. So here we go. First breath, breathe in. Imagine that you're gathering everything you've left in the past or the present or people around you into your own center. And as you breathe out, imagine dropping this, anchoring it down into your hips. And as you breathe in again, whatever else is left out there, bring it in, bring it from behind you, from in front, from any side, into the center of you, bringing it down through your body, down to the hips. And then one last time when you're ready. Breathe in every particle that you still left out there, every little energy drop that you still have out there. Bring it into yourself, into your skin, into your whole body, and let it drop down into your hips. Imagine that you can send some of this energy down through your legs, down into the earth, and feel the power of the earth, so you're well grounded on this beautiful earth of ours. And then I'd like you to bring your attention to the center of your chest, to your heart. And imagine that you can smile with this center, that there is, or maybe you'll find a smile in there, in your heart somewhere. Imagine that you can smile with your whole heart. And if you can't imagine it, pretend that you're doing it, or make yourself do it. Smile inside you. Feel how that smile feels. It's a beautiful, beautiful sensation. And if you can't find it, just look for it. Don't give up on yourself. You can do it. It's your essence. It's in your center. It's there. Pretend that you're smiling with your heart. And send this smile out through to the world. And imagine that you're sending this smile out to whoever needs it. Anywhere in the world. Whether you know them or not. Just send the thought of a smile out. Maybe somebody will feel it. You never know. Okay, my dears. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining. I'll put this out there now that I hopefully have this video to keep. Although it is Facebook's. But at least they claim it to be so. Anyway, have a beautiful day. And I will be back on Friday doing a deep meditation with this topic, with compassion from the heart and to our world. And in the meantime, I wish you a beautiful afternoon, and tomorrow, beautiful day. Remember to smile to somebody. Bye-bye.